1975 that before my 11th birthday, my mother and I came to this country. And she studied at King's College London. She studied philosophy. She'd done philosophy in Iran, and she wanted to continue, and she did philosophy of religion, comparative religions here. And now she's back in Iran, and she's lecturing there. And she's in a little village in the north of Iran, where on the one side you've got luscious mountains, and on the other side you've got the sea. And it's you drive just 1 hour to go into the cold winter's environment, and just come down to the south, and you can spin it to the north. She was asked, which is better, living in Charles, which is this little village, or living in London? Because she could have chosen to be in either place. And she said, I cannot have the benefits of living in Charles in London, and I cannot have the benefits of living in London in Charles. So in every decision we make, we get something, we lose something. Now, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. I almost didn't turn up today. I didn't feel up to it. The reason being that I was suffering from something which I call crashed computer syndrome. And it means that for the past week, I've been struggling to get my affairs in order because the computer crashed. Now, I was hoping one of our friends who's usually here, Peter, would be here because he's a bit of a technophobe. And last time he was telling me, I am of the generation where computers weren't around and it's too late for me to learn how to use computers. And what I'd like to say to him today is you cannot have the benefits of having a life revolve around computers whilst having the benefits of having a life revolve around no computer. So, on the one hand, yes, he misses out on a few things, but he gains on quite a lot. And one of the things he does miss out on, which is a game, is crash computer syndrome. Now, the other thing is that last week, Tony came to my place and he was helping me learn a particular software that we're using at Toastmasters. And 2 weeks ago, I didn't expect to be here today because I had another commitment. Whilst I was there, that commitment was cancelled. And I said, okay, instead of having my speech next session, I'll do it this time. And we arranged that. And then Tony went, and I didn't confirm that I would come in to the speech today. At about 6 o'clock this evening, I checked the schedule and I realized that I was the first speaker. And it was, and I thought, oh dear, I have got nothing prepared for today, and it's going to take me an hour to get here. I've got half an hour to prepare. What am I going to talk about? And then I was inspired by the feedback I got from the last speech I gave, which is why I encourage you all to fill in these feedback forms, even if it is your first time here, which was an off-the-cuff speech. It meant that I had to speak on a topic without having rehearsed it in advance. And this is what I'm doing right now. So I hope you'll bear with me whilst I look at my notes. That being said, I hope that what I'm about to offer you is not going to be an insipid speech. Because I chose to speak on uplifting the spirit as the topic, essentially because it was what I felt I needed to do. So I would kill 2 birds with 1 stone. First, I would uplift my own spirit, And second, of course, you're scared. And so I decided to bite the bullet and come and give you this speech. No problem, welcome. And so you might think, with all this talk about killing birds and biting bullets, how it's going to be uplifting. Well, I thought perhaps I'd talk to you a little bit about, I'll give you some anecdotes about my experiences as a revolutionary guard in Iran. Yes, I was once an Iranian revolutionary guard. Now, it wasn't by choice, I was conscripted. Let me explain what happened. In 1996, I had just finished, I finished doing my PhD thesis, and I was writing a lot of papers, and I was doing really well. I'd studied asthma, and I was writing papers for conferences and so on. And I heard that my mother wasn't well. She was in Iran and she needed support. I knew there was a risk, but I did go to Iran, and at the border, the officer looked at my passport and said, "Oh, you're Iranian national. I don't have any record of you having done the national service or military service. So I'm sorry, but this passport is now defunct until such time as you do your national service." So what to do? I was told, well, with a PhD, you can go and teach at university for a couple of years, and that would count towards your national service. I said, all right, what's the first step I need to do? He said, you go to the Ministry of, he said, what's your subject? I said, pharmacology. You need to go to the Ministry of Health first and have your documents endorsed. So I went to the Ministry of Health, and they said, well, where is your master's degree? I said, I didn't do a master's. How come? Well, I can go from BSc to PhD in England. Okay, what's your BSc in? Chemistry. You need to go to the Ministry of Science first, have it endorsed before coming back. Because that's all I wanted to do. I'd done it in England. So I went to the Ministry of Science, and I said, can you endorse my degree, please? And they said, well, we need your high school diploma certificate. And I did that in England. I said, oh, you've got to go to the Ministry of Education, have it endorsed there before you come back. So I went to the Ministry of Education, had it endorsed, went to the Ministry of Science, had not that endorsed, and so all that took a few months. And then they said, okay, you can now go and teach at university. And so I went and I wrote to about 40 universities, and one of them said, yes, of course you can come. And after about 9 months of teaching at the university, I became director of research there. And it was supposed to count towards my national service. But at the end of it, they said, sorry, we didn't manage to get that to go through. So you've got to start from scratch. So go to the Ministry of Defense and tell them that you need to do your national service. So I went to the Ministry of Defense, and they allocated me to the Revolutionary Guards, no less. So I went to the Revolutionary Guards, and they looked at my medical records, and about 2 years before that, I had suffered from viral encephalitis, which is a brain infection. And so they said, well, with that kind of history, you should be exempt. So they sent me back to headquarters, and headquarters said, come back in a few weeks' time. So I went back in a few weeks' time, thank you, and they said, you would have been exempt if you didn't have a PhD. but with a PhD, you would not be exempt if you have one working arm, leg, ear, or eye. And so, but if I'd lost 2 arms, 2 eyes, 2 legs, whatever, I would have been exempt. So eventually I went to do my national service, and I was assigned to my combat training was in the desert. And it was in a beautiful part of the country, and I will tell you a lot more about that on another occasion. But just to say that as I was thinking about this speech, it reminded me of a poster that my teacher, my RE teacher, put up on the walls in my school, which is when life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
Bijan, thank you very much.